Well, hello there, chums. It's weekend mission 5 law breakdown time. I know, it's gone frickin' fast, hasn't it? Yeah, heck yes. Right, so first I need to boot up the missions. Let's go and interact with the old Nexus. Hello there, Nexus. What have you got for me? I honestly think that these titles, like Misaligned Realities, so forth, so on, are all just randomly generated week on week, and I don't think it bears anything onto here, so I don't know whether I need to do this step going forwards. However, let's go and see which iteration it is. I'm running the wrong way, aren't I? Because it's Hesperus. Yeah, I need to go the other way. I need to go see Mr. Owlface. There he is, right there. And here we go. Hesperus seems troubled when I approach. They hide their data pad. That is suspicious behaviour. That's not on. So something is a little bit suspicious with that sort of behaviour there. So that's ringing alarm bells for me. I think we're going to hear a little bit more of Hesperus in the upcoming weeks, because that shifty type sort of shenanigans going on there. Ariadne has sent word. What, from the void? From the place in betweens? How? How has this happened? There needs to be more elaboration, but there isn't. We've just got to take that at face value. I would have this guy hooked up to a polygraph right now. Tell me, did you ever hear the story of a hero traveller Asteria, one that first breached the gap between worlds? Yes, we did. Weekend mission 2, I believe, was the first mention of Asteria, this traveller. But yeah, okay, fair enough. Yes, we have heard of her, but a breach between worlds. But we've also had between stars. So between worlds, between stars. I think this is the between, almost like, I don't know, Stranger Things and the upside down. Time flown strangely for our people. Asteria was preserved in a mind arc after death, dispensing wisdom from the grave, much like good Artemis and the Artemis questline. Now, we used the thing in the back of the anomaly, the Nexus simulation type machine, to actually interface with Artemis and put Artemis into some sort of simulation. So I'm going to be checking out that area in the back of the anomaly a little bit later, chums, so stay tuned for that. Okay, it's a pilgrimage we have all made. It's time you seek your prophecy, kindred. Hold on, a pilgrimage we've all made. Are you kind of subtly hinting that perhaps we are all in the mind arc? Is that what you're hinting at? And is my prophecy my fate, my future? Is that what's going to happen to me? Because that's not sounding great, Mr. Hesperus. Find their world. Okay, so their world could be a simulation, which I've kind of always assumed that I'm in a simulation. Followed knowledge stones, take their glyphs through the portal. Okay, well that bit remains the same. Right, okay. Excellent. Mission has started, so we will be going down to the planet in a bit. But this is a bit mind-blowing. I mean, come on, Hesperus, you, sir, have now jumped up to my #1 spot for the most suspicious character in the freaking game. Yes, I'm pointing at you. What do you mean, no? You're really suspicious. This is not on. Hesperus, you're not on my Christmas list anymore. You really aren't. Okay, right. So here we are at the grave of Asteria. Okay, so this is the gravesite of Asteria. This hero traveller that we're hearing so much of. The grave of Asteria hisses with familiar corruption all around. I detect that there's life signs of a traveller cut from reality. So not in this reality, perhaps in a simulation, perhaps still inside the mind arc, but as we know, there's multiple travellers of the same ilk. It's like, Ariadne, when she went missing, there was multiples of her ship and multiple signals of her inside this sort of void, or this sort of realm of glass or reflections. Who knows? A weary voice speaks, barely audible above the static. So the static again once returns. So the static is very interesting as well. Asteria tells me they once led the Viking into battle against the emissaries of glass. They once doomed a sentinel fleet. Well, the emissaries of glass, I see this as a reflection. Sort of like, you know how we're seeing multiples of the same traveller echoed across? Well, maybe they are just reflections of a traveller. But again, it's almost symbolising a whole freaking army. Now, Asteria tells me they led a Viking into battle. Well, in Greek mythology, Asteria was not that type of character. In fact, she ran from the gods and took refuge and changed her form multiple times to creatures, beasts, and then eventually turned herself into a whole freaking island. So yeah, that doesn't ring true to the Greek mythology in any way, shape or form. She was not a warrior. Okay, they tell me they will be betrayed. Okay, they tell me I will become the betrayer too. Right. Okay, so maybe I am not working for the right employer, you know? Maybe I'm going to be betrayed. Maybe it's by Hesperus. You know, he was rather shifty. up in the old Nexus, wasn't he? Or maybe it might be somebody else. It could be somebody that's pulling the puppet strings. I mean, we are, after all, trying to get Quicksilver, and the only place you can get it is in the Nexus, and as I believe, it's been crafted by Nada or Polo, or both. Anyway, I've got to go get myself some sweet root to satisfy this disturbance site, so I better go grab that. Righty-ho, I will be back in a sec once I've grabbed my sweet root, but this is getting pretty damn strange. Heck yes. Okay, well, I am back. And here we go. Well, let's just hammer through all of this text again. And yep, we've got the general gist. Let's just hand in the actual things and we will get the next part of the law. Right, so here we go. I enter it in. Here we go. The mind arc is cleansed. The soul within thanks the traveller for their assistance. Fair enough. Okay, well, the mind arc, I didn't even know it was corrupted. I guess by this disturbance, maybe, and the static, who knows, but I seem to have had a decent conversation with it. But does that mean it might have been a corrupted conversation up to now? Is this the only part that is going to be true from here on in? I ask Asteria for the prophecy they can give. I ask how the nature of I ask for the nature of my enemy. Nice, good question. Righty ho. Well, yeah, because at the moment we're not 100% sure who the enemy is. Because at one stage she said that I might become the betrayer myself. Am I my own enemy? This is bizarre. Some of this lore is really taking us away from the Abyss. And here we go. They tell me that the Abyss is not what it seems. So, I've been thinking this as being some sort of state of limbo, a place in between life and death. But then, what is what we put Artemis in? We've put him in a simulation. What if the Abyss is nothing but a simulation? And we're all echoes, we're all reflections. What if we are our own enemy? What if this is just going to be a story-orientated type exercise where we're not actually going to get an actual physical enemy? Because perhaps we are our own enemy. This is turning my head inside out, chums. Right, okay, well, we need to head back on up to the Nexus. And I'm going to be checking out that little doohickey in the back of the Nexus. Here I am. Well, hello. Welcome back. Yes, this is the doohickey I'm on about. So if you scan this dang thing, it says Korvax Simulation. So, yeah, I'm going to go and interface with this right now. There you go. You can see it on that bit of text that flies up very quickly there. But here we go. Let's hit that. Executor-Mundo. Kapow! Right, so here we go. Terminal Prime. Nada NT. Authorization required, secondary simulation 5. Now the 5 there, does that mean that there's 5 different travellers that are being simulated inside this simulation as we speak? Or does this mean it's one of the 5 biggest updates that we've had? I don't know. I don't know what the 5 alludes to. I really would like to know. But yeah, Korvax Simulation Terminal. And Nada Entity. Maybe Nada is the real puppet master here. I mean, after all, it is his Quicksilver that we're running around for. What if we're batting for the wrong team here, chums? We could be running around looking for stuff that doesn't really exist. We might not ever find the answers to anything. Nada could just be taking us on some sort of crazy trip. Oh my days, my paranoia is through the frickin' roof. Heck yes, this is mental. But this room is pretty dang strange. I mean, take a look at it. It doesn't look like anything else. It's like all this lattice up here almost reminds me of some sort of brain type matter in a way. It looks very sort of cellular in structure with all these hexagons and things like that, like a lattice. Yeah. Almost like we put a mind arc in there and it kind of has a mind feeling. Look, if I spin around outside of that room, I'm not getting any sort of motion blur, static, nothing. But if I go in here and I do the same exercise and spin the camera, look, I go all fuzzy. There's all static. There's all sorts of interference. I am wondering whether the actual void and the Abyss is nothing but this machine. I'm wondering if this is the Abyss and this is the void. And we're helping create it, we're help feeding it with frickin' mind arcs of fallen travellers. And I'm wondering whether this lore and type story won't actually allude to a new bad guy. Heck no. But that's just a feeling that I have this week. It may change next week. Until then, goodbye. There's multiple ways to support my channel. Patreon being one. Thank you, Patreons. And I also have YouTube membership. Thank you, YouTube memberships. Yep, there's multiple tiers there for everyone. Be sure to check both out if you're thinking of supporting me that way. Hitting a like or a subscribe or leaving a comment. I love reading comments. Is another way to support the channel. Or there's merch if you want to find a dandy pair of socks or a t-shirt. Head on over to Teespring. Or just stay with Captain Steve a little bit longer and watch a little more. Hit join or sub. Heck yes. We'll see you next time. Thank you very much for watching. Cheerio.